Hey everyone, Sean O'Connor here from Macabre Daily, specifically the Paper Cuts Horror Literature column, and I have none other than Callie Kazumi with me here today to promote
Woo!
Greedy. Callie, we've got a lot to talk about. I did not know that this was the novel that I needed in my life at this time because the world is such a horrible place, and you make it, well, that much more dreadful. It's so delightful.
Thank you so much.
Look, I call him as I see him. We're not going to spoil anything, but we're going to come so close, and I'll be able to edit anything out because I fear that I'm going to spoil this novel, and I really don't want to do it because I want everyone to go out and read this. Look,
Yeah.
will it make you feel better about the elite class? It will not. but but it may give you that cathartic jolt that you're looking for, where you'll say to yourself, "I knew I was right about them." See, look, I'm brushing up against spoiling it.
No. I don't think you are.
All right, well, you give me the danger if my big mouth gets us in trouble. And like I said, I'll be able to edit anything out. But before we go a step further, I just want to tell the readers about you and your accolades. Callie Kazumi is the author of Claire Darling and a British-Japanese writer who started work on her first novel after being given Stephen King's On Writing by her father. I love everything about that. We're going to talk about that in a minute. You live in London with your husband and your Bichon Frise, Betsy. I mean, come on.
She's actually behind me right now. I
How
couldn't get
does
her to move.
how does someone with such an adorable bio in life write such a crazy, gut wrenching? I'm not going to say gory. It's not gory. It leads the reader to the doorstep of what their imagination will allow, which is honestly my favorite type of writing, where you give us the blueprint, but you don't paint it out in, like, sketch by numbers,
Yeah.
and you just uncork the imagination. And man, does Greedy do that really well. And you get to the end of the novel and you're like, I cannot believe the places my mind took me. And then you go, Callie, you son of a bitch.
Thank you very much.
So look, do me a favor before we go further. Tell our viewers and our listeners a little bit about yourself.
About myself. Oh, I can talk about the book. Talk about myself is
Well, no,
quite.
we won't get personal, but tell us about yourself in regard to, like, we're going to call this a psychological thriller. Are you comfortable with calling it horror?
Yeah, I don't really know. It's quite like a middle of the road, like for several different genres, I think. I feel like
Absolutely.
it's like a suspenseful horror, maybe, or yeah, I really don't know. Thriller slash horror,
Here's the
but
way
thriller.
here's the way I'm thinking about Greedy. It's like it's this beautiful car that you get into, and you get in the front seat and you look in the back seat, and there's horror and psychological thriller and social commentary and dark humor, and in the trunk is a little bit of noir thriller. I mean, it's all there.
I
All
love
of it.
that. I didn't want to kind of, I didn't want people who don't like horror to not pick it up. But then I also didn't want it to kind of be boring. So,
Look, that's a great point, and let's make sure that anyone listening, look, our fan base and our listeners and readers, they certainly love horror. The site is called Macabre Daily. They certainly love horror, but that's not to pigeonhole our viewers. They love everything, and they recommend what they love. So I don't want Greedy to not be on someone's list because they're like, oh, you know what, my brother, my sister, my whoever, they're really not into horror. If you have someone in your life, including yourself, who's into incredibly crisp, clean, dynamic prose, a fantastic pulse racing story, and an ending with a last chapter that I'm not going to say another word, but we're going to leave it right there. Greedy is the book you need to have in your hot little hands. And I mean that
oh, thank
sincerely.
you so much. We've comped it as Parasite meets the menu, which I think is like a really good comparison because I don't think that either of them are super horror. I feel like everyone loves those films because they're so good
Absolutely.
and they're so gripping. So I hope that Greedy is somewhat like them in book form.
I think not only is Greedy like them in book form, but I'll go so far as to say I just saw the new Park Chan-wook film No Other Choice, which is based on Donald Westlake's The Axe. And I think Greedy falls comfortably alongside Donald Westlake's The Axe as far as what someone will do when confronted with that point of diminishing returns in their life, whether it be providing for their family, whether it be, their belief and ability in themselves. And
Mm,
this novel says a lot about that. And then they're provided with an opportunity that seems like the cure all, but it comes with a price.
yeah. Yeah, I really wanted to kind of explore the boundaries of what at what point do you kind of turn your back on yourself and your morality? What's going to push you to that limit? How many things need to really stack up before you completely break and just say, oh well, sod it, I'll just do whatever I need to be doing,
Yeah.
even if that is completely inhumane, I guess.
No guessing involved. Yeah, no, it definitely gets inhumane, but in and I can't believe I'm going to say this because it's going to sound so creepy and nihilistic, but in the most entertaining way possible. You really, it's such a cliche, but I was reading chapters well past my bedtime, and when you're turning pages so fast, you actually you like kind of are listening for the sound of it, even though you're in the moment, and you're just the pages were flying by. I couldn't wait to get to the how much deeper Ed was going to dig himself in the hole, and how
Yeah.
much more delightful that deep dark hole was going to become. And I think that's the sign of a great thriller. It really is.
Thank you so much. I think one of the things with Greedy is I I think like the main theme of it, it's not a twist, it's not a surprise. The marketing and stuff's been pretty open about it.
Oh,
And I
sure.
think what I like about the plot and the way I wrote it is I want everyone to know more than Ed does. Like Ed is just an idiot and he's supposed to be that way. He is just like way in over his head. He has no clue what's going on. He is constantly turning a blind eye to things. And I want it to be that the reader is kind of waiting to see when the penny's going to drop for him and what's going to happen when it does, because we all know what's going on. I think I make it so clear
Yeah.
very early doors what is actually happening. And obviously you learn more as the book goes on and there's more revelations to come. But I did want it to be like, you almost want to shake Ed and be like, just look around, just like listen and pay attention. Um, so yeah, and it's interesting because I had like an early conversation with my editors where they had kind of drifted the idea of making the main character a woman. And I was like, no, a woman would never. She would just clock straight away. Like she would have vibes immediately.
Immediately. Immediately. First off,
I was like, as you put any woman in a room with Hazeline and she's gonna sense something is off. Whereas a man is like much easier for them to get away with being like, oh, like I just go to work and do my job and then I go home.
look,
Like I'm not thinking about it too much.
I find it damn near impossible to even believe a woman would be in a situation where they're looking for an out from their predicament. Whereas I could name you 11 men right now, possibly including myself. That would be like, this is the cure all right here. Where do I sign?
Yeah, just it literally falls in his lap, doesn't it? The solution to all of his woes.
Yeah,
Or
it's
does
right
it?
there. But all right. So look, I want to roll it back for a minute because I definitely want to talk about how the idea for the novel came about and some of the inspirations. I'm fascinated to learn where this spark came from.
Oh my God. I actually really don't have the best answer for this, but I feel like all of my novels, the idea always stems from like a question. And my brain is just very bizarre. I'm neurodivergent. I'm just always thinking very outside of the box and coming up with kind of weird scenarios.
Mhm.
That game, Would You Rather? That's
Yeah.
like was I love that game. I'm just always like I can think of something so messed up here. You have no idea. So I was just thinking one day about, I don't know why I was thinking about chefs, but I was just thinking about chefs and how crazy it is that private chefing exists as a job and the kinds of people that they must work for and the kind of things that they must see. And then my brain was like, oh, what if you were a private chef to like an actual psychopath who wanted you to cook things that should not be being cooked? And that idea just kind of stuck with me for a really long time. I was like, man, that is such a hook. And I would love to kind of explore what that might look like. And then I had wanted to write about kind of the mixed heritage experience in Japan for a long time anyway. So the idea to set it in Japan was very easy for me. And then I have 2 degrees in politics. I'm actually like super political, but I never talk about it because it depresses me so much.
You think?
But I have a lot of opinions. So I thought, how can I kind of talk about, I think inequality is something that I am like very passionate about. And especially in the West, we have this kind of elitism that I don't think really exists in the same way many other places. I mean, there's huge wealth disparities everywhere, but I think this kind of idea of classism is like quite unique. And I wanted to explore that, and it just worked really well with a metaphor of cannibalism.
Yeah.
We'll get the C word out there.
Yeah. We've been dancing around it, but yeah, cannibalism.
It's not a secret for anyone except Ed, I guess. But yeah, and I think Parasite was a huge influence to me. I love that film. I love the director, and I think the way that I love the way that he doesn't stick to one genre, and the exploration of class in Parasite I found really interesting. Like the fact that they literally live in a basement, like all these kind of hidden metaphors are so ingenious, and I really wanted to try and replicate that in any way I could.
You do it beautifully in the book. I want to let the viewer know that, you know, yeah, the book deals with cannibalism. I mean, look, it's right here on the cover, not suitable for vegetarians. I mean, it's right there.
Thank you. No, I came up with that.
Oh, God, bravo. Bravo. By the way, the cover, and there are
I did not come up with that. No credit for me there. The cover is amazing. Isn't it?
Multiple covers, by the way, and they're all amazing. The 2 covers that I've seen.
I always get really nervous for the covers, and they sent them to me, and I was like, these are literally perfect. I have nothing that I could even say other than thank you. Like, they're amazing.
I get really nervous. I get nervous about covers as well, because I've had the conversation with authors who I've loved their work, and they're in love with their novel or their short story collection. And they had no choice over the cover, and it's like this huge, like, but then there was this, you know, and you have to kind of talk around it. That's uncomfortable, but certainly not for greedy. I'll tell you that.
Usually we don't get a say in the cover. So I've just been really lucky that all of my covers have been amazing.
I mean, look, touch wood. Let that continue.
Yeah, touch wood for next.
All right. Now that you say that you have 2 political degrees, this is fascinating. And I don't want to turn this into a political discussion. I'll be forthright and forthcoming and just let you know that I'm a unapologetic liberal. And it's very hard in America right now.
I believe you.
Yeah, I mean, this interview is the day after Trump gave his speech in Davos, and everyone is like, you know, we're collectively getting our jaw off the ground going, how did we get here? What is even happening?
You know, anyway. What is interesting, I'm going to try really hard not to talk about politics very long, but I think what's interesting is we always used to be like, wow, like America's politics is insane. Like it is crazy. But as time has gone by, I feel like the UK is actually extremely similar.
We're mirroring each other in a very weird way.
It is, I think. And I think one of the reasons that I have absolutely no interest in politics anymore, when I went to university and did my first degree, this is a really long time ago now. We won't talk about how long ago, but it was a long time ago.
Not as long as me, Callie, I assure you. look at his face.
Politics, hair dye. Politics was totally different back then, and now I feel like as time's gone by, when I went to uni, there were loads of options for who to vote for in the UK, and now we've only really got 2 parties, very similar to America.
Yep.
and they're both kind of the same to me now. I feel like that everyone says there's a left and a right, but they are very, very similar. And
It's
so I
like the
think
Venn
we don't.
diagram's almost a circle.
Yeah, I'm like, we don't really have any options. The system's not giving us a voice really. We've got two options, and they're kind of both as shit as the other. So I don't know. I think that's really where my interest was just like, there's no one really that's representing what I would like to see.
Then we'll sum up the political conversation, then we'll move on by just saying that I agree with you 100%, but I do think that when that Venn diagram is a perfect circle where you can't see the difference in one party to the other, that's when grassroots movements start to happen. So it's not all doom and gloom. That's when
Hopefully not a movement like what happens in Greedy.
oh no no
Hopefully not like that.
no not that one. Not that one, but something more idyllic and something for everyone. So the reason I wanted to bring up politics though is because it does correlate so perfectly with the class system, and which is all over the novel, because you have this elite class who really I feel like this is very true to what is happening now in society, where you have the disparity of wealth, but these uber super rich, they kind of run out of toys in the play box, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then they start looking for, creating other toys.
Well, how bored would you be if you had all the money to do whatever you wanted? I mean, I'd be bored. And I think I loved when Billie Eilish recently did that speech, and she was like, if there are billionaires in here, why are you a billionaire? And I was like, that is so true, because why? I can't even kind of fathom that level of wealth. And if I had that level of wealth, I think I would feel so overwhelmed that I wouldn't even really, I would have no idea what to do with it. And I probably would just end up giving most of it away. So it is kind of, if you could do anything in the world whenever you wanted, however you wanted, what, you know, I'm would not be surprised if all the billionaires out there are doing some really, really crazy things. Maybe not dinner parties like in Greedy, but they could be. Who knows?
Who knows?
I wouldn't be too surprised.
This could be a documentary.
I mean, what else are they going to be doing? And I think that it was funny because at the end, the big dinner party scene, which kind of the whole book's leading up to, I really did have a lot of fun going into the guests and who was there, where they've come from, what they do, the kind of conversations they're all having with each other. And it's all so false.
And this was the part I was scared about, but we're here because big mouth, I didn't want to spoil anything. So we do get to this incredible scene at the end of the book, and really is culminating to that dinner party. And I needed to ask you, and let's just be careful, because like I said, I don't want to spoil anything, but how much fun was it to write that scene and to pick out the cast of characters that you wanted to have at that table?
It was so much fun. I honestly, this entire book from start to finish was so much fun. I was just like laughing on my own. I actually, to be honest, when I wrote this book, I didn't think anyone was going to buy it. I certainly didn't think Penguin would take it because it was so hugely different from my first. So I really just let my freak flag fly and wrote what I wanted to write and had so much fun doing it. And the dinner party scene, I mean, I had so much fun. I was like, what is the most stereotypical kind of industries that you have these super, like, we're not talking like millionaires. We are talking like the uber top of the chain wealth here.
Yeah.
And
the 1% of the 1%. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They've gotten there by, realistically stepping on other people to get there. And now they're at the top. It's like, I could only imagine what the conversations in that room would be like. And I tried to imagine what it would feel like and replicate that at the party, and it's just mind numbing. It's just it's just elevation and ego boosting, and kind of all of them are caressing each other, and they probably wouldn't even know who the other person was if it wasn't for the fact that they're at this stupid dinner party pretending that they all have followed each other forever. And
I'm fascinated. I'm morbidly fascinated with that level of wealth, because I agree with you. When you want for nothing, I think it's so corrupting. But as an author, that is such fertile ground for your imagination and to craft these stories and a narrative around that. And it's so
Totally.
unbelievably entertaining. And I think it's incredibly entertaining as well because then we can get to the end and we can close the cover of the book. Maybe not these days. It seems like, it exists in reality and, we're trying to close the cover of the book. But
Yeah.
but you can with Greedy, and you can get that sense of like, catharsis where you're like, okay, it was
Mm.
only a dream. It was only a dream, you know?
Was it? Was
Ah,
it?
don't you do that to me, Callie. Don't you do that to me.
I
Yeah.
think it's interesting because you said when you have that much money, you want for nothing. But I think they do. I think what they want is power because when you do have money, then power is the only thing you can't to an extent buy it. And I think that's really what Hazeline's character is now because she's all alone. She has really nobody except these weird people who work for her that she's sort of manipulated into being around her.
Yeah.
So all she has to rely on is power, and she kind of is playing God in a way with so many people's lives.
I meant to ask you, is Hazeline based off any one person or is it an amalgam of just like the uber wealthy?
She's completely she wrote herself. I didn't even have anyone in mind. It was quite difficult trying I don't know anyone who's remotely like her.
Good.
But I think yeah, thank goodness. But I think it was kind of easy to make it up completely. I think if I have too many influences, I get the character becomes quite murky in my head. Whereas if I have totally free reign, I can just make her as weird. And some of the stuff that I wrote, like some of her lines, I'd write it and be like, I don't know where in my brain that came from, but she's like speaking through me or something because this is weird and messed up.
Isn't that great though when you just kind of like it's coming so fast and furious, you're on autopilot and you're like, all right, I'm in the zone. This is great.
Definitely. And she's so fun. I honestly, I she's my favorite character I've ever written. I love her. I would love to like explore her again, like her early life when she's like a teenager or maybe when she meets her husband or something. I don't know.
Oh, I would buy that. I'd buy the hell out of that book. Oh,
Because I bet she's got some real weird things in her closet. I bet she had a weird childhood.
I feel like we've just scratched the surface. So I'm gonna annoy you later on down the road. I'm gonna be like, any texting, any thoughts on that book? When
A
are we gonna see
prequel?
that?
I'd love to. I'll
All right.
give her some time. I need a rest from Hazeline, but I would love to go back to her for sure. Yeah.
We've talked about how this is a fantastic thriller. It does have horror elements in it, which I think are great. It's not too heavy. Don't be turned off by the H word. But I want to bring up two other subgenres that Greedy really, really reminded me of. I brought up one already, which is like that noir thriller, because Ed is very much like a noir protagonist because he's so hapless. And like every great piece of noir fiction, they just can't help themselves. They just continuously make the wrong choice. And that's what makes for a great noir thriller is that they get deeper and deeper and deeper into that hole. But I want to bring up another subgenre and be honest with me and let me know if anybody's brought this up previously. This also gave me like not folklore, but like fairy tale, like Grimm's fairy tale vibes. Like
Oh,
Ed goes from the city, to the woods. Like it's almost like a very, we're following the path to a deep dark house in the woods where they're
interesting.
eating children.
Yeah, Hazeline. Yeah, Hansel and Gretel-esque. Are you? This is the first time anyone has said this to me,
Okay.
and now
Look, I
you're
don't know if it's
saying it.
true, but
Maybe it's a modern Grimm.
I mean, it's certainly a cautionary tale.
Mm.
For sure, it's a cautionary tale of, maybe vet your employer a little bit more thoroughly. We
Oh,
we,
for
we could all do
sure.
that.
I don't think he gave a rat's ass who his employer was as long as he was getting paid.
We should point out we're not spoiling anything. It's in the first chapter. Ed is in Dutch with the yakuza. I mean, Ed
Mm.
owes way more money than he could ever come up with, and it's the perfect scenario for a person to be vulnerable to a choice that Ed makes. I love the structure that you build throughout the novel because that's the first domino that clicks over. And every preceding domino that falls over, even though you and I, the reader, and the writer, are like, don't touch that stove. It's hot. Don't do that. It's a very poor choice. It's so easy when you put yourself in Ed's shoes to see why he would do that, which
Yeah.
is kind of a Callie, I want to give you kudos because it seems like that's a very easy task to do, but it's not. That's a very thin tightrope to walk because it could go into parody or it could go into telegraphing way too much to the reader where they lose interest, and you do neither. So, well done.
Thank you so much. I think there are I mean, his name's Ed Cook, and he's literally a cook, so I think there's an element of parody in there. But I was saying to someone the other day, I feel like I always try and find at least one thing about every character that I can really sympathize with.
Mhm.
And I think that's what makes them so kind of understandable. And for Ed, like, he is an idiot. He does make bad choices. He's pretty selfish. But at the same time, like, he really loves his wife. He really loves his kid. I think he's got really terrible self-esteem, and he knows that he's not doing a great job of being a dad or a husband, and he wants to do better. And I think when we're watching him make all these mistakes, it's like, well, he's doing it because he is in his head, he thinks he's going to be better. And that's, even Hazeline, she's got her reasons for doing what she does, and she honestly believes in them, and she thinks she's helping in her own weird way, and she's got her own kind of sad background that we learn about later in the book. And I think, obviously it's all super messed up, and everything that these characters are doing is wrong on every level, but you can see how and why they believe that it's the right thing at the time.
Hazeline is absolutely 100% convinced that she is making the world a better place.
It's sad.
It is, but it's fascinating and it makes for a great novel,
Yay.
Because you want to get into that mindset of like, okay, now how could somebody feel like this? And damn it if you're not convinced, like, all right, I kind of see it. No matter how that makes you feel as a human being, but you're like, okay. And then like Ed, you just want to throttle him, but like all great I don't want to call him tragic, but those film noir protagonists, they have that little kernel of good just right there. It's so tiny, but it's what sparks and ignites that drive, often towards doom. I'm not going to give anything away. Everyone's got to read the book, so no spoilers here, but it gives him that drive to keep putting one step forward and keep making these decisions. So you can see both of the viewpoints. And there were times where I stopped reading for the night and I was just like, God damn it, and I picked it back up and I went to the next chapter.
Yay. That's
No,
my mission.
yay, you spoiled many a bedtime for me. How dare you? All right, so do me a favor. We're gonna wrap up in a moment, but I would love to pick your brain. I hate to put you on the spot, but could you give our viewers one recommendation, a book and a movie? And it doesn't need to be horror, just something that you are absolutely a champion of and you would love more people to find out about.
Yes. I don't even need to think for this one.
All right.
Right. So the film is one I actually watched for the first time quite recently. It's a Korean film, but it is on Netflix. I mean, it is in the UK anyway, but I'm going to assume it is in the US as well, because you guys always get everything first. It's called Forgotten. And I don't even know how to describe this film. It's like watching 8 different films at once, and I've never ever seen something have so many twists that are shocking. And so you start, basically the initial premise is that this man, he sees his brother being kidnapped off the street, and then the brother returns kind of 3 weeks later, and he doesn't have any recollection of where he's been in those 3 weeks.
Okay.
And then what happens after that? Because that's a story in itself, right? But that's all in like the first like little tiny section of the film, and then you just get twist after twist after twist, all these revelations. It feels like you're watching a domestic psychological thriller at the start, and then you're like, oh, is this like a ghost horror maybe? And then it turns into action, and it's honestly, it's just a wild ride. I cannot recommend it enough.
Forgotten?
Forgotten. Korean
Oh, all right. Everybody look below. Not only are you going to see the link to follow Callie on Instagram and where to purchase Greedy, but you're going to see the link for Forgotten as well.
Please, honestly, if you watch it, email me because I want to hear your thoughts because it was just a roller coaster ride of a
Oh, I'm
film.
going to
It
watch
was
the
so
hell out of
good.
that movie. Are you kidding me?
Oh, it was amazing. And then for book, so I think the first time, so I was recommended this book by a friend. Well, actually, that's a lie. I wasn't recommended this. My friend said to me, "This is the most messed up book I've ever read in my life," and it was awful. And I thought, that's a bit of me. So I read the book, and it was Earthling by Sayaka Murata. So another,
Oh,
have you read it?
I haven't read it, but I know about it.
So
Okay.
another Japanese author, and I've read all her things now. I'm obsessed with her. I'm like, she's one of my instant auto buy authors after that. But I read it, and it's short. It's like a little tasty, like one night read.
Oh, I love that.
Um, and it was just like nothing I've ever read before in my life. It was so bizarre, so strange, so grotesque. I mean, I guess the best genre for it would be horror, but it says a lot in not many words. It's absolutely amazing.
Oh,
Love
I
it.
cannot wait to read that. And by the way,
It's
guess
pretty
who
gross,
also
though. I warn
became
you.
guess who also became a must-read author? How about that?
Yay!
Callie, this has been so much fun. Everyone, the novel is Greedy. Callie Kazumi, this is your must-read for the spring, the winter. Sorry, we're not wishful thinking. Everyone
Just all
go out.
year.
Yeah, just like this. Winter's 3 months long in the United States, and it is where like a month in, and it already feels like 10 years. You know,
Same here. I feel like, have we ever seen the sun?
I just want to feel the sun on my face. But anyway, this isn't about me. I'm making it about me. The novel is Greedy. You are a phenomenal author. You are now a must-read author. I'm going to go and I'm going to buy Claire Darling. I know it's not the same, but you are. I love the way you write, so I'm picking
Oh,
it up.
thank you so much. And thank you for having me.
You're welcome back anytime, and I mean that. You ever want to discuss anything, books, movies, I'm going to hound you for your next work, so there's no escape now, but you come back
Yay!
anytime.
Thanks so much.
You got it. Take care. Have a great night.
Thank you, and you. Bye.
Bye.